But should we get into our character profile for this week?
I think we should.
So last week we covered Invincible.
We
because
did.
you finally got around to watching it, and it had been burning a hole in my pocket. This week we're covering another Invincible character, Atom Eve. Ooh.
We got her special recently.
Samantha Eve Wilkins, aka Atom Eve, first appeared in Invincible number 2 in February 2003. Eve was a government experiment destined to be a super weapon. However, when one of her creators, Arius Brandyworth, had a change of heart during her birth in which her mother died, he swapped her with a stillborn child to protect her from the government and give the family the baby they thought they had lost. Of course, she would grow up with them, the Wilkins. They would not know that she was not their daughter. She would not know that she was not their daughter.
Yep.
As she aged and showed an aptitude for the sciences, she would go to a school for gifted children before leaving after not meeting their expectations. She had multiple run-ins with her family because she was so different. And as she got older, her powers more fully manifested. When after a particularly brutal argument with her parents, she was given dinner she didn't like and turned it into a cheeseburger. She then decides she wants to use her powers to fight crime. And it's at this point Brandyworth reveals himself to have been watching her from the shadows since childhood to try and keep her safe. And he explains that she can't use her powers as it may put her in danger from the government. Unconcerned, Eve continues to use her powers for good, eventually drawing the government's attention. At which point they send multiple poor replication attempts after her. She defeats them after finding out that they are related to her in some way. But her and Brandyworth are caught by the government officials. While captured, Eve pleaded for Brandyworth's freedom in exchange for her staying and doing as she was told. But instead, she is forced to watch as Brandyworth was executed, as well as being told her mother is alive. Yeah, she's not in a great state, as anyone who saw the special can attest to. This amount of strain, however, caused her to temporarily move past the mental block that stops her from being omnipotent. Was kind of temporarily subdued, and she was able to wipe the minds of those who had been chasing her of her entire existence. And this allowed her to continue as Atom Eve without the threat of the government chasing her. She would then go back to her family and pretend that none of this had happened because she now had no choice but them. But she changed a picture of her family to look like what a picture of her family should have looked like, to show how much she missed that. She would then go on to join the teen team, where she would work alongside her boyfriend Rex Sloan, aka Rex Splode, and eventually meet Mark Grayson, aka Invincible. Atom Eve is a huge part of like the Invincible comics, and she was a big part of season 1, and that will only continue to grow in season 2, I am sure.
Yep.
She's crazy powerful.
Oh yeah.
All bar that mental block, she is a god. Without that mental block stopping her from being able to use her powers on living things, she would be literally unstoppable. And the fact that when she was under enough emotional strain, she was able to get past that mental block, I've got a feeling that that might be something we experience at a later date once again. That feels like what you call it, Chekhov's gun. You don't load the gun if you're not going to have a character fire it. I feel like you don't show her being able to get past that once if she doesn't end up using it again. But a really cool character, and I think, bearing in mind, by 2003, it felt like we'd kind of had all of the archetypes of heroes.
Yeah.
I think that's why Invincible's so successful, because it came in and it uses the archetypes, but they changed them in just enough a way to make them feel like a brand new direction for characters, without having to go the more obvious route of really dark or really gritty or really stupidly funny. Just kind of, no, what if we just made this little tweak and then ran with it? And I think it works very well.
No, yeah, it works great. She's a fun and very interesting character, and I think you're right. We're definitely going to see her get past that block again, for better or worse.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, with some of the not full understanding, but kind of bits that you see just from being on the parts of the internet I'm on about like where the general story of Invincible goes, I can definitely see a couple of opportunities where there would potentially be enough strain for her to breeze past them limitations again.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.